don't necessarily dislike Amorim as a manager. I have huge respect for what he did in Portugal. Right, he
Right.
took Sporting to
Yeah.
success after they didn't win the league for like 20 years or something like that. So,
Yeah.
like again, he took them. Sure, Sporting were third, but again, taking from third to first is also a big jump in many cases, and he
Right.
was able to do
Agreed.
that. Right, so I do think he's a good manager, but I think the more I see him with this team, it just feels like he's not a good fit, right? So it's not necessarily a diss on Amorim; it's more a diss on INEOS for hiring him in the first place. Now, my
Agreed.
problem is
Yeah.
that like we said, our squad is completely different from Amorim's philosophy, right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that will not just take 1 year to fix. That will probably take at least 3 or 4 transfer windows. Like Eric himself, like sure he did absolutely terrible squad planning, but even he took at least 2 to 3 windows to get a team that he wants. And we were kind of very similar player profiles and all of that. It's just that he needed different kinds of players and all. We still played a
Agreed.
black four, similar 4-2-3-1 tactic and all that. This
Yeah.
guy
The profiles
plays,
were the same. Yeah.
yeah, this guy plays a 3-4-3. So it'll probably take more than just 2 or 3 windows to give
Mm-hmm.
him the side that he wants. And now the problem is not just next season. Okay, let's say we win, for the sake of argument, let's say we win the Europa and we get Champions
Mm-hmm.
League football and the revenue windfall that we get from that. So we maybe instead of two, we can buy 4 players. Now,
Agreed.
are
Yeah.
we getting into European places with that next season? I would still say what is European list? Top seven,
No.
top eight. I would
Yeah.
still think that's a tough hill to climb. So now where are we again? Either Amorim is like, okay, let's kind of play in such a way that we come third in the group stage so that we go to the Europa, and then do we again hinge our hopes on winning the Europa again so that we get that sweet European revenue somehow, and or try to win the FA Cup next season so that we get the Europa that way, and get some European revenue so that we can afford to keep spending to mold the squad in how Amorim needs. So I think the next 2 or 3 seasons are going to be very financially risky for the team because we know that the club can't afford to spend like say 4 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
our costs are much higher. We have a lot of players on the books with high wages that Ineos or Amorim or both don't want to use. And getting rid of them is a substantial effort, and then you have to buy all these replacements, and you have to buy replacements that Amorim wants. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, to be completely fair with you guys, I don't think, and I mean, and given how we know that Ineos operates, as we have seen with Nice, they pretend
Yeah.
to fully back a manager and then fire him a few months later. What worries me is that let's say we get the we win the Europa League and go to the Champions League next season. So we are okay, sure, we have a lot of money. We give Amorim 300 million, right? Let's say we give him 300 million, buy 4 or 5 players. Probably you can buy more, right? You sell all the dead weight in the club. You will raise up to 500, 600 million. You can give him an entire new squad. Let's say that actually happens. Let's say Vivel and Wilcox and Berard are actually that competent to get 11 new players for Amorim. And let's say in October we are ninth in the table, right? Now
Yeah.
let's say
Which
ninth in
can
the,
happen.
which can happen, right? Because again, the
Yeah.
team will also take time to build cohesion and teamwork and all of that when you have so many new players, right? Let's say
That's
by
right.
October, November you're ninth or 10th in the table. You're showing crop promise, but you're still ninth in the table, right? Best case scenario, I would say at this point.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past Ineos to fire Amorim at that point, and then hire a back four manager after you spend 500 million building a 3-4-3 formation.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. Because isn't that what they did with Eric? Like they literally followed that reverse
And
sequence
with
with Eric,
Nice,
right?
with Nice, you see Nice's manager history for the first few years
Yeah.
of Ineos ownership.
Pretty much. I mean, they moved from a back four manager in Farioli to a back three manager in I can't remember his name, but whoever managed them this season. And I felt like it was just a case of them picking. Oh, like here's a talented manager. Let's just bring this guy in. But
Yeah,
let's not care about whether he works for the squad or not.
right. Yeah, so I think on my side that's basically what I'm worried about. That even if we back Amorim, do we have the, like, even if you give him 10 new players, it's not like magically we're going to start being in top 4 top 6, right?
No,
You need to have the patience to support the manager and wait at least one full season to see how it plays out. And then B, you also need to build an entire, like, let's say you go on this back three train, you need to build an entire infrastructure at recruiting infrastructure at the club, so that even if Amberim doesn't work out, you hire a manager who at least wants similar player profiles. Sure, not that he wants a
right.
complete 3-4-3 and the exact positions that Amarim wants, but at least, like a back three, one guy up top kind of a guy. You don't want a guy who's like, hey, I'll play 3-5-2 now. Suddenly, you don't have enough strikers at the club. Or, you play like a back five. You're like, hey, I want a back five. I don't want wing backs. I want three center backs and two full backs. Now, you spend 200 million getting, a bunch of wing backs in the club. So, what do you do with them now? Right? Um,
And Pratyush, like what you're saying, right? There's a dangerous knock-on effect with that too. If we have a manager, for example, who is like, okay, I want to prioritize a system with wing backs, right? But our youth academy for a long time, and even now, especially now,
yeah.
produces players who are wingers because they respond to 4-3-3,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm saying. Like,
So
the entire recruiting and scouting infra was built for a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 kind of thing. And by that, I don't just mean the first team. I mean the youth teams, the reserve teams, all of it.
absolutely,
Like, so all
yeah,
of this has to be retooled. And you have to commit to this formation at least for the next 10 years. You can't just be changing every couple of years depending on what manager you like. Like, even
yeah,
before, when
agreed.
we used to complain that every time we change managers, we're getting a different player profile. We went from strict position based play of Van Hal, recycling based position football, to then we went to very defensive counter-attacking kind of football under Mourinho.
Mourinho.
Then we went to
Hmm.
whatever the hell that Ole does. I still don't know what his tactic was, but he got his results. Uh, then we went to
Vibes.
Eric. Who first season played a pragmatic style of football. Second season went to some transition nonsense, which basically kind of made us concede goals left, right, and center.
Pretty much, yeah.
But there were still similar formations throughout the thing, throughout the 10 years of that. And now you completely changed formations, you've changed tactics, you've changed philosophies, you've changed everything. Like, it's a complete retooling of the club. Now, I don't mind doing that. Like, honestly, hey guys, I don't care what formation play as long as you win trophies. But you need to have
As long as it's consistent.
yeah, you need a stomach to commit to this in the long term. Like, let's say fire Amorim at that. Let's say fire Amorim next summer, right? Let's say INEOS gives him an entire season, right? He finishes eighth, right? And
Right.
INEOS is like, hey, we gave you 500 million to spend, and you finished eighth, right? So you're not working out, which I would say is fair, right? You give him all the profiles he wants, still finishes eighth, you fire him. Okay, agreed. Now what? Are you going to commit to another back three manager? Or are you going to again, go back to, I don't know, whoever is the hot new manager at that point? And
And that's one of my concerns at that point if
yeah,
that happens, and it well could.
like
The
Jim keeps saying that,
back
hey, we don't have
pieces
a
managers for the
data.
reason,
Jim keeps saying we don't have a data analytics team and all that, and we still
which
haven't
is
hired
scary.
anybody for that, right?
Which is scary.
Yeah.
Like it's 2025. Like
Like, if you look at modern football, it's not the 90s 2000 style of football where you hired a mercurial manager and made them get results, right? It's not the
not
Ferguson, Wenger, Mourinho era anymore, or even Pep. Like, you need to commit to a philosophy, and you need to use data analytics to kind of build every facet of the club from the ground up, right? Because every other
absolutely.
club is doing this. Like, in the 90s, no club did this. So, you could get away with having a strong manager. Like, now clubs don't have that much patience. You know, um, like Amorim, he gets asked questions. Hey, Ferguson got 4 seasons. Do you think he'll get 4 seasons? No, he's not getting 4 seasons to kind of prove himself. Or like Wenger, or any of the other managers who got a lot of time. It's a very different sport today. So Yeah, I think that's what worries me, right? Like, honestly, I don't mind sticking with Amorim. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for what he did at Sporting and the kind he turned the club around. But I just don't think that we have the necessary infra around Amorim, starting right from the top, from Berada and Jim, to kind of push that club in that direction and make the things happen, right? And also,
Yeah,
again, end up not being dependent on Amorim. Like tomorrow, if Amorim is fired, you don't want to be caught in the headlights saying, "Oh no, what do we do now?" And then again retool the club when you hire a new manager. Like at least commit to this for the next 10 years. I mean, sure, give Amorim his freedom and all that, but at least build the necessary support structure so that tomorrow, if you fire Amorim 2 seasons later, you hire a similar manager so that you know to redo your entire groundwork of the past 3 seasons. Which I don't
yeah.
trust INEOS to do because they're not shown any track record of doing that.
And I think the danger that becomes at that point is when you hire a manager who is as positionally rigid and inflexible as Amarim, because it's a bit rare, right?
Yeah, yeah.
At that point, you're not just tied to a three at the back system, but you're tied to like very specific profiles you're recruiting for. You have to have wing backs. Uh, you have to have tens who can kind of carry the ball and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like
at
Rohan,
that,
would you be surprised? Let's say we fire Amru mid-season, or even end of next season, and then Jim is like, "Hey, back three is not working out. Let's hire Graham Potter or somebody like that, or even and I mean, I forget what does Potter play back four, back three, but I mean, regardless, I mean, he's still I say pretty different from Amuru.
Uh,
Or even if we get Southgate, who maybe Jim thinks, oh, Southgate plays a back three, let me get Southgate. But it's still a very different kind of manager with different player profiles. So,
I
and then
wouldn't
again,
be.
next summer we'll be having
Yeah,
this same conversation on this spot. Hey, you need to give the manager time. He doesn't have the players we need. I mean, that's kind of the problem, right? If we keep buying such dramatically different managers every couple of years.
I wouldn't be surprised if they like sack him also mid-season or something like that, and then get a back four manager like that. That does sound like INEOS. Very trigger happy and trying to just do whatever they can. In that case, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, and I would also be very concerned even in that case because uh, I don't really trust because they are like they don't have a director of football and everything. They are
Yeah.
making transfer decisions themselves and everything, and I don't trust their recruitment of players as of yet.
Hmm.
And that is a very big concern for me. Like
Hmm.
even if we move to a back four formation, let's say like the most basic 4-3-3 you can ever play.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say they do that. I don't trust them to even get like the right kind of players for that 4-3-3 also. And even if they get the right profiles, the quality won't be there. Like I am very concerned about that. And if the quality is not there, we will just be hanging like okay, we won't come 16th, we will come 10th, but we will be 10th only. We are not going anywhere close to Liverpool and competing with Arsenal there. So that is my biggest concern. Like that there is no flow of ideas and principles from top to bottom. Very competent. Like there is no competency there. So that is my biggest concern. Even if you move to a back three, back four,
Hmm.
you'll see improvement. 100% you'll see improvement because and then player profile also they'll get.
Yeah.
But then again, if you're buying like at cut price deals and not we are not able to get the good players right who are really like I said who can really lead even in I'm not saying the whole team at least do something in your own position right do pick up like pick up your performances when needed in your own position
Yeah.
if we are not able to do that then play any formation you like we are coming 10th only whether you like it or not
Yeah.
that it is as simple as that like I can't see any hope then we are just going to be a mid-table team that's it
Yeah. I
then
think.
then
I
the
think.
higher Dice also no then higher Dice and enjoy the mid 10 life like the mid-table life.
I think we very much are a mid-table team. I mean, 8th and 16th are up
We're not even mid-table
finishes.
right now, Somdeep.
Yeah, right. We're relegation battlers right now, but we're very much the bottom of mid-table. Uh, well, bottom of the whole table
Yeah.
right now.
I think we should think long and hard about the
Yeah,
kind of future you want at this club. If you want to commit, I'm not even saying an exact 3-4-3 that Amorim does, but at least like a back three kind of wing backs kind of formation for the next decade.
system.
Yeah, then sure,
Right.
support Amorim. Even if he loses the Europa
Yeah,
League, support Amorim. But if you're not going to commit to that, then I would say let him go now. Because Amorim is a very, very
agree.
different philosophy, and you can't just risk everything for just 2 years just to revert to a 4-3-3 again. Then you waste a billion
Which is
points again.
which is also very likely because the number of managers who typically prefer back three setups like Amram, especially ones who use wing backs, are
Yeah,
very few at top level in European football. I mean,
yeah,
I can only think of Xabi Alonso, and even he uses wingers more than wing backs. Simon Inzaghi and maybe Frank Heiss at Nice. That's it. Like, and there, of course, there are a few more, but it's a harder like pool, right, to pick from. So yeah, if INEOS comes out saying, "Hey, like this is our plan for the next 5 years minimum,"
yeah.
sure, and by all means back Amram. But I don't think
What
they're
do you
going
think,
to.
Ron? Before we wrap, do you agree with that, or do you have something else?
I agree with you, Pratyush. I That is what I was saying about having a long-term vision and
Yeah, yeah,
following that on. Definitely there will have to be some decision making from INEOS here, like going forward. That okay, we are going to stick to the three at the back formation, and then
Yeah,
look at managers on similar terms. That if
exactly.
Amorim
Right.
fails to perform, then we'll probably look at them and then come bring them in. And by side on the side, they'll continue recruiting for the player thing, like for the formation.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that
Yeah,
way, it won't be too much of a mess. Uh,
maybe plan with him now, but
yeah,
stay open to a
yeah,
negotiation
yeah.
like
exactly.
2 years down the line.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
100%.